Hello, welcome to McMean Machine. Today we have not one, but two guns we're gonna go over today. Kind of. We have the Beretta APX A1 Tactical and the Beretta APX A1 Compact. This video is gonna be a little bit longer today since we're going over two firearms. With that said, let's just get started here. So first off, both these guns are made by Beretta, made in Italy, each of them. And going front to back, this is the APX A1 Compact. We have a red fiber optic front with a blacked out serrated rear. We have a reversible mag release here and ambidextrous light stop. The case comes with two 15 round magazines, a little bore brush still in the package here, and one of these speed loaders. This is the APX A1 Tactical. It comes with three 21 round magazines. You can get flush fit 17 magazines from their online store. It has suppressor sights and a threaded barrel here. This one is also cut for an optic, so is the other one, the Compact. The thing about the Compact though is if you do decide to put an optic on it, you are going to lose your iron sights. That is not the case with the full sight. Both of these guns are chambered in 9mm. However, the original APX, this is the second generation, the APX A1 is. The original APX, I believe you could find in 40 Smith & Wesson though. Both of these guns also have that serialized chassis, which means you can remove the trigger group out of the firearm. And if I wanted to, I could take the trigger group in this gun and put it in this gun, and this gun would technically be this gun, if that makes any sense. For the test, we did 500 rounds, and we did split that up about 50-50 between the firearms. For the ammunition, we used the Federal Champion, the CCI Blazer Brass, and then CCI with the aluminum case. We also used Cellular and below, however you say it, 115 grain. All of them were 115 grain. Oh, and for defensive ammunition, we did the Fiocchi Defense Dynamics 147 grain. In terms of reliability, and for the APX A1 Compact, this one was mostly reliable. It did hiccup some on that aluminum cased ammo, which to be honest, I expected. But going on to the bigger brother here, let me tell you, awful reliability almost across the board, except with the cellular and below ammo. S&B, we'll call it for short. So it was at the point where it was stovepiping essentially every single shot. And I think there's a couple reasons for that, so we're going to get a little bit more in detail into the features now. So for starters, most guns, full size, compact, will typically be like a 15-pound recoil spring. This bad boy has at least a 20-pound recoil spring, mixed with the school bus shaped slide that is ridiculously thick and heavy. There is not just enough oomph in that ammunition to get the slide to cycle fully, I believe, for this one. When I first got this gun, I did notice that the recoil spring was pretty stiff, and in fact my wife actually couldn't even rack the gun. So what I did is I left it in my safe for like 3 weeks, just locked to the rear to see if it would soften it, and I think it did a little bit. However, it's still way too stiff, and even if it wasn't stiff, this slide is way too heavy, needlessly so. Since we're getting into the cons, let's just keep talking about it. The other one is whatever coating they use for the slide on both of these guns. It reminds me of that of eggshell paint. It seems like it's super durable. However, when you get lube on it, you cannot just wipe it off. I had to get Dawn dish soap and like scrub with warm water to get it to come off. And even with that, the texture of it is so incredibly smooth that it's at a fault, because if you don't get that lube off, it just sits in your hand. I'm a little bit at a loss of how the country that can give us Bugatti and Ferrari somehow gives us a school bus for a slide. Okay, so what's good about this gun, right? So something I think that is good is the reversible magazine release. I think the magazine release is shaped very ergonomically, and it is very easy to compress, but not like easy to the point it's gonna, you know, happen on accident. Also, something else I like about this gun is the slide release. It goes very easily. It's one where you can almost just like tap, almost like a AR-15 bolt release. Works really well. Something else I like about the gun is the sights. So for especially the compact, I just love the front fiber optic, rear blacked out sighting format. I do wish they had something like that for this one here, but honestly, they're fine. I think the star of the show, however, is honestly this frame. It feels so incredibly good in the hand. Each of these guns comes with 3 back straps, and it doesn't just hump out further, but also increases the palm swell, which I think is nice. But with that said, it points so naturally. Honestly, I had a red dot on this, which I took off because I thought maybe the excess weight contributed to it not cycling, which is probably true. But honestly, I found a lot of times how I would point it, my red dot would be like centered on this, and it was actually hard to see against the blacked out front sight. So really, it is a very naturally pointed, the gun points very naturally, and I like that a lot. I've shot a lot of guns, I've had a lot of guns. This really is the most comfortable gun I've ever held. Something that's just kind of the middle of the road, not really good, not really bad, is the trigger. The gun was accurate, by the way, in testing, but just to show you the trigger here, I'm going to show you the brake. They advertise it as a 6-pound brake, and I would say that's probably accurate. Here's the reset, and I will show you this on both guns. So the reset on each of these guns is a little weird. The reset doesn't really follow your finger up. Like, it doesn't just bring it out. It just kind of goes when it wants. Show the brake, or the reset. One more time. Yeah, so the reset doesn't really follow your finger. It's hard. It's almost like your finger's dragging the reset forward versus the reset pushing your finger forward, if that makes sense. Something else I forgot to mention about the mags is they don't, you know, they're not compatible with any other mags. I mean, the original, oh, well, here's something. This transfers over well. So aftermarket compatibility, it's okay. So in terms of what you can find for holster availability and such, and sight availability, it's out there. It's not really a lot. However, Beretta has a decent aftermarket for these guns. So they actually have a tactical compact model where it's exactly like a Glock 19 size firearm, but it has the threaded barrel and the suppressor right sights. They do have a variety of colors, a variety of, you know, slide sizes and grip sizes, and that's pretty cool. That's what I look for in a gun that says it's modular, is that I can change it to what I want. And you know, of course, the little guy can take the big guy's mags. And I did mention this was a serialized chassis gun, and I just want to not show you because I can't necessarily do that on YouTube. But essentially, so you take the slide off, right? And then this part wiggles out the slide lever. And then there's a pin. So there is a striker decocker back here that you can push, but there's also a pin, and that punches out, and then the whole thing just comes on out there. So to give a fair shake to Beretta, right? I filled out a warranty claim for this today, and I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna send it back and see if they can fix it. This is actually, both of these are not my guns. Me and some buddies pitched in and bought this for a buddy for his birthday, and I gave this to one of my friends because he just got married and I wanted him to be able to defend his family. That being said, I can still claim the warranty with Beretta, and I'm gonna give him a chance, and then I'm gonna give it back to him. We're gonna go for a range day, and we're gonna see what kind of reliability we have. Honestly, I think it's pretty unfair when gun reviewers on YouTube will get a gun and it's completely unreliable, and they say, oh, this gun's trash. Now, I know I was talking about how the IWI was trash, and that's because it is, and it only had one malfunction. It wasn't trash because of the reliability. It was trash because it's trash. But in the real world, if you get a gun that doesn't work and it's in the warranty period, most people are gonna send it back. And since this is, I'm gonna send it back and I'm gonna see what happens. So would I recommend this gun? Now, given the reliability issues, I mean, if it works out and Beretta sends it back, I would recommend the gun. Aside from that, this one was reliable, I would say, and having the hiccup with the aluminum case ammo, I'm not really going to count against it. I think I would. You can find these guns pretty reasonably priced. At the time of filming, they have a rebate going on where you can send them the receipt and they send you some money back. I don't remember how much, but you can find these things after rebate roughly like $270. So that's a pretty good deal. Okay, so real quick, I just want to talk about what Beretta can do to make this gun better, right? So first things first is they need to get rid of whatever proprietary coating they have on this. I looked it up, it's called Aqua, whatever, I don't know, but it sucks. It might be durable, but it is so slick that it's hard for me to grab, right? Secondly, they need to lower the reciprocating mass here. There is no reason to have this big old thick boy, right? They could easily remove some excess material from the top here. Other than that, I think they could make the takedown method easier. And furthermore, really, if they could just, I'll show it for fun, make that trigger a little bit better. Now, they did improve the trigger from the APX A1 to, I'm sorry, from the original APX to the APX A1 model. Originally, it was like an 8-pound trigger pull, and they got it down to 6, which is good, but let's see some progress here, right? Just show the reset and the brake. So really, I think it has the potential to be a great gun because I really like the way it feels in my hand. With that being said, would I recommend it as is? And I think I would with some contingents, all right? So specifically with this model, I mean, obviously I'm not gonna recommend a gun that's basically, you know, straight pull firearm. And if it turns out to be reliable, you know, I send it, they fix it, it works fine after that, then yes, I'll recommend it and I'll update you guys in a video or I'll comment in this one and, you know, keep you posted. It's optics ready, well, optics capable. You have to get an optics plate that you have to order and you have to pay for. That is something that's worth noting. But for the price and for the modularity, it is good. Now, if you're wondering how it stacks up against the ARX Delta, we will, at the end of this whole series, I'm going to be going over each one in summary, just a real quick tidbit, and, you know, I'll rank them best to worst, or worst to best, however you want to look at it. So stay tuned and subscribe so you can see that when it happens. I do want to point out that each of these guns, I believe, come with a 5-year warranty. Don't quote me on that, but I'm fairly certain. But you do have to register for the warranty within 30 days of purchase. So if you end up getting this gun, keep that in mind. Okay, so before we close out the video, we're gonna get on to our 2 facts. So the first one was, I believe it was the Washington Post. I might be mistaken. This is being quoted from memory, so it's not really a fact at all, but it's something I read and it was from a reputable source, right? But they had done a study on the 5 largest coffee producers in the United States. And they wanted to test each of their coffee to see what all was in it, you know? And they found that in all of them, that there was so much excess ground up sticks and leaves and dirt that they think it had to have been put in there on purpose as a filler. And as a result, none of the coffee companies allowed them to use their names in their article. So that's why I started grinding my own coffee. Onto the religious based fact. Many people know about the cross that Jesus was like crucified on. However, there are other crosses. There's some that were shaped like X's and some that were just a straight post where people would be, nailed through the wrist with their hands over their head. And another one, most famously, I believe it was Peter, who was also crucified, and he requested to be crucified upside down. So yeah, there you have it. More than just one kind of cross. Please, again, like and subscribe. It does help the channel, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you.